Yeah.
Okay, so I should go ahead and get going. Okay. Well, I just want to thank you all for coming, and especially thank Vanessa Luna for this presentation. As you all probably know, Vanessa is received the Marianne Schmink Award for Outstanding PhD Dissertation in 2024. And there is proof right here that Vanessa. And this hangs in the director's office, the TCD director's office. So your name is listed with all these wonderful other people in the past, but there's only one every year. So this is a really important distinction. And Vanessa, my name is Karen Kiner, and I was lucky enough to be Vanessa's dissertation advisor along with Betty Loisel, and Betty Loisel was her master's advisor along with me. So that was kind of how we sort of switched a little bit. But Vanessa got her undergraduate at La Molina in biology in Peru. And then she worked for several years with different NGOs doing different things, and then came up here for a Master of Arts in Latin American Studies. So like many people entered through that system of getting a much broader degree in Latin American Studies. And then for her PhD, went to SNRE and she's going to present you'll see her trajectory as she presents today. And I just wanted to mention that also the Schmink Award comes with a very nice little paperweight that you get today. That doesn't go in the director's office. And a check, which is yeah, so we're just so happy that Vanessa got this award and very anxious to hear what you have to say today.
Thank you. Well, I'm very honored. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Betty, for being part of my journey. Thank you, TCD, for all the great things that TCD does. And we're celebrating Betty on Sunday and her legacy here. And thank you all for coming. So for today, well, since this is a dissertation award, I thought I could talk about my dissertation, but my advisors and some people have heard me talking about fire a lot. So I thought maybe I just present something rather than what I did for my dissertation and try to make sense of my interdisciplinary journey, which I think this talk and the conversation that I want to have with you will help me figure out what are the next, which I still don't know. So I will talk about my undergrad. I will go far, 15 years ago, and share about what I did for my undergraduate thesis, which was in primary ecology. And then my work with a Peruvian NGO when I was a science coordinator for biological stations in the Amazon. And then why I decided to come to TCD, my involvement in different projects that were related to the Amazon conservation, and my dissertation on fire. So let's see how it goes.
Can I diminish that so we can see?
Sure.
If you just hit the left, I think, that very far left one.
Yes.
There you go.
So yes, as I said, I work after I graduated from La Molina Agrarian University 15 years ago in biology. I joined a lot of projects. I was a field assistant for friends, dissertations and thesis in research. And I was involved in research on mammals, in birds, in plants, mostly in the Amazon. And then I had the opportunity to work on my own project on primary ecology. And then after that, as I said, worked for NGOs, and I interacted with local and indigenous communities. And that gave me a sense of kind of urgency of where conservation of biodiversity, the different actions that were needed, right? So I was publishing a little bit, I was helping others on getting discoveries on biodiversity, but I was finding that was enough, right? Because there were all these threats on biodiversity. I remember that one conference that I helped organize on primate, it was a primatologist conference in Peru. We brought speakers from Latin America, and there was one Ecuadorian researcher that said, like, I work in a specific place for 20 years following group of titi monkeys, the tiniest monkeys in the world. But then that national park was kind of destroyed by deforestation. So she lost her field station. He lost the place that she relied on for so many years for discoveries and show the world how amazing the Amazon was. So I guess all this experience conducting research made me think that we need to work with people. In the end, biodiversity conservation is about working with people and understanding their intentions, their priorities, their expectations for their needs, and try to understand why they do things a certain way, and in that way you can encourage and promote effective biodiversity conservation in the long term. So for me, it was very important to work for these NGOs, and I started thinking, okay, I need to go back to school and understand the social science to better promote biodiversity conservation, and then I found TCD. It was in 2016, 2017. I remember looking at the TCD website and I found a report that summarized the TCD community students at the moment. And there were so many countries, so many disciplines and different activities that it promoted. And I was like, I want to be there. So when I came in after 7 years of being a student, part of the TCD program, I say I don't regret anything. The expectations that I had before coming were surpassed by the things that I've seen here. So I'm moving to the first part, which is my primate research. Back in 2011, I saw an opportunity from the Missouri Botanical Garden. They have this fellowship when you could conduct research for a year. The Missouri Botanical Garden, they have an office in an herbarium in the Peruvian Amazon in a city called Oxapampa. And that city is very close to a very important national park, the Yaranachaga-Chimillén. So they offer these fellowships. It was a 1-year fellowship when they would give you money to do field work and a stipend. So by that time, I had these friends that were doing monkey research, and I was like, I want to do something like that. I didn't have much experience, but I found it exciting, so I developed a proposal. And I got the call from the director of the herbarium, and he said, okay, we like your proposal a lot, but the monkey you are trying to do research on doesn't exist in this park. Because I was thinking to first doing it with howler monkeys, but they didn't have howler monkeys. So I got to change it for woolly monkeys. So this monkey, this species, is one of the largest species in the neotropics. They have prehensile tails. That means that their tails, they are kind of limbs, and they can move very easily in the forest, make hanging from their tails. They are frugivorous. They move a lot in the canopy to find the fruits and all the things that they eat. They are social. You see them in groups, and they move in groups together, and there's an alpha male. So when I got accepted in the fellowship, I read more, and okay, now I gotta do this, and I gotta do this for a year. My research proposal was on feeding ecology and see dispersal of this monkey in the national park. So the first thing that I did was to go to the field with the botanists that know very well this area, and they gave me some training on the plant identification. And the first thing you gotta do when you do this type of research is to find the group of monkeys that you're gonna follow and get them used to you observing them. And that was hard at the beginning because there are a lot of groups out there, and when you follow them, you go to a place when there are not that many people, they get disturbed and they run away from you, or they can come and try to attack you. So I remember this group that I found, that it was a very convenient place within the park, close to the bio station within the national park. This group, they would come very close to me. They would break branches on top of me and let them throw and hurt me sometimes and make a lot of noise. So I wasn't able to collect any data for that moment. I got to be 2 weeks following them. And there was also an opportunity for me to recognize the place where I was, for the river, for the different things and the trails, right? So I finally got the monkeys used to me following them. And this was a group of 7 monkeys. And I tried to put names on them. So I had 2 adult females. One I call Mari, is a brownish, browner monkey. The other one was smaller and darker. I call her Rosita. There were 4 males. One of them I was able to identify him very well. He was kind of brown and big and seemed to be the alpha male. I call him Pedro. For the other ones, I put names on them, but it was so difficult. They looked very much alike. So in the end, it was like 1, 2, 3 males. Well, male 2, 3, and 4 actually. And eventually, Mari had a baby that became a juvenile throughout the year, of course. So yeah, there was a juvenile and 6 adults in this group of 7 monkeys. And they are, as I said, frugivorous, and they play a very important role in dispersing the seeds of many different species of plants in the Amazonian forest. So that was what I knew. And this is my methodology. So since I wanted to understand what these monkeys were eating and the seeds that they were dispersing, I followed the same group for a year. That was the plan. But there was a time when I needed to, get the monkeys used to me observing, for me to kind of know where things were and get some training in botanical identification. So that's something that I did during March and May. So I started collecting data in April, and I tried to follow this group of monkeys from sunrise to sunset for at least 4 consecutive days. And I will explain you why later. And so I will follow the monkeys with my GPS and field assistant. I have always one field assistant with me every single month that I went to the field. And every 30 minutes, I will take notes on what they were doing. And I have 4 options. They were eating what they were eating, fruits, leaves, flowers, others. If they were resting, if they were traveling from tree to tree, moving places, or social interaction, like grooming, scratching, fighting, mating, whatever. Right? So that was every 30 minutes, and also I took a note of the location with my GPS. If they were eating on a tree, I will put a mark on the tree and a location, because then I will collect a sample from that tree. And with my binoculars, try to identify, is that a fruit, and then collect the fruit. So in the end, this is the amount of hours that I follow. So in April, you can see there were like 33 hours. That was about more than 4 to 5 days that I was able to follow them. In June, I wasn't that successful. It was like 3 days and a half. In November, I did a lot. I tried to go then in December and in January, but that was the rainy season. And it was kind of dangerous to get to this place because of the river. We would get very with one rain, it would just increase the water, and it would become kind of dangerous. So I decided not to do field work in those months. So I didn't have an adequate sampling during the rainy season. And something else that I did is that every time that I would find a feces sample, I would collect it. So I collected 204 feces samples. And that was then, I washed them all and I identified the seeds. And since I have already collected the fruit samples, I was able to match. So, okay, these seeds come from this species. And in some cases, I was able to say, this seed come from this plant, but I will explain a little bit this later. So I spent a few days in the field every month, and then a few hours, well, a whole day sometimes, after all this data collection, to just go and collect the botanical samples. A botanical sample will look like this. So it's leaves, if they have flowers or fruits, that was great. And there's some other characteristics like, cutting the trunk to see if there's any sap, color, things that I learned from botanists at the time. And then there was some work at the herbarium. That means drying the sample, and some of my samples, some of the samples that I collected ended up in the herbarium. Name, collected name, some description. And then with the botanists that work there, I work on the identification, and I was able to identify a lot of the plants that these monkeys ate, and a lot of the seeds that they dispersed. So some of the results are these monkeys spend a lot of time eating. And this is eating, and this is traveling. And traveling to find the trees they will eat on. And let's say close to 40% resting. And that was mostly around noon. And that was also the time for me to have lunch. I bring my Tupperware, and me and my field assistant will sandwich and just take a break, because these monkeys will move a lot in the canopy. These are the ones that move as much. They move the most. The monkeys that move the most in the neotropics. Same as with the spider monkeys, because they're always looking for fruits. In terms of what they ate, you see from April to November here. So they rely a lot on fruits in blue, but during the dry season, they eat more leaves and flowers. Because in tropical forest, trees, plants, they bear fruits mostly during the rainy season, right? So animals, all the animals, especially frugivorous animals, they have to find other types of food, right, during the dry season. So in the end, after all this field work, I was able to identify 111 different species of plants that these monkeys relied on. But then looking at literature, research, similar research with bigger sample size, this could be up to 300 or 400 different species over a year, multiple years, right? And most of the seeds of these plants that they ingest, they disperse intact. They don't destroy them. And I was able to see that because I watched all the examples and I was able to see all the seeds. And I told you about this that I try to follow the monkeys on consecutive days. So I have some assumptions that I follow, and there were some specific cases when I was really able to try to say this seed came from this tree. And that was, for example, if they didn't eat from the same species of another tree during that time, right? So I was able to say this seed came from this tree, and this was the distance that these monkeys have transported with the bodies, the seeds, and disseminated, right? In some cases, that was 100 meters. In some cases, that was 300 or a kilometer away. And that tells you about the important role of these monkeys. They play on the forest, which is disseminating the seeds, and that increases the survival rate, their germination success of these seeds. So that was very impressive. 350, that was the average. And that's from different species together. This was their home range, because I was able, have a point location, GPS location of their trees, where they ate the flowers, the leaves, and fruits. So I know that during the dry season, because they rely on less fruits, they move less, but they move more during the rainy season because they became picky. There were so many fruits out there that they would move a lot around. And they wouldn't deplete all the fruits from a specific tree at the same time. They would try to eat a little bit and they move to the next one, and sometimes they would follow the same for the next day. And if they find in the way delicious fruit that they haven't tried before, that will be kind of like in the memory to remember and like come back the next day. So that was very interesting. These were some of the fruits that they rely on during the dry season. These are fruits, these are species that some botanists would say, ecologists would say, keystone species that bear fruits when not that many species bear fruits, and a lot of animals rely on this during the dry season. And then you have other species that bear fruits, especially during the rainy season. And there's some difference because normally the plants that bear fruits in the dry season are throughout the year, but especially in the dry season have very small seeds, whereas the ones that bear fruits in the rainy season have bigger. And even I found a very, very big seed here. So This was the largest seed that I found in one of these samples, and it was close to 2 inches long. Could you imagine a 2 inches long seed coming out of it? Poor monkey. Like, thank you for doing that for the forest, you know? And it was just very impressive to me to learn about this co-evolution. It was really co-evolution of primates and plants. These plants, they bear fruits with some characteristics to make them appealing for animals, even for us. You know, every time we eat an apple, a banana, right? They offering you, these plants are offering you this richness, these odors, these colors, these flavors to attract you, for you to eat, ingest that, and to disperse the seeds. But at the same time, these monkeys, these animals, they evolve by identifying and kind of knowing sometimes whether this is venomous, this is toxic or no, by the smell, oh, I can eat this or no, right? So that was very, very exciting for me to learn through this research, a little bit of seed dispersal and the role that monkeys play in the forest. So that was it. That was my monkey research. Is something that I haven't talked about in like more than 10 years. So I was very excited to bring it back from the oblivion. That undergraduate thesis and got some pictures. So now that I want to talk about is about my experience working for the biological stations in Peruvian Amazon. This one was my favorite. It was in the cloud forest, in a very unique and amazing place. This was the view from the office. And you will see there is a road that goes down to the lowlands. There's a Mano National Park on this side. This is a biological station that is located in Cusco region. And it had an amazing diversity of birds. I was crazy about birds, you know this, Betty. The birds, the most beautiful birds are, in my opinion, some of the most beautiful birds you can find in the cloud forest. They're just so colorful and beautiful as this mountain toucan. I was able to see them like all the time because I lived in this place for one year and a half. And my job was to support and to help biologists that would come to the station. I would support them in their work, providing information, sometimes help them connect with field assistants, local field assistants to do their work. And I try to connect the work that they do with the local communities that were like nearby. And we try also to encourage local schools, teachers to bring their kids and learn about the forest. That's the new more than anybody, these kids. But yeah, it was a great place to kind of connect like local people that live nearby, because we were here, but from this side of the river, it was the national park, and the other side, Quechua community lands. So we try to encourage this kind of like exchange of knowledge and like for everybody to be amazed by the diversity of and just awesomeness of this place. And I had camera traps, and since I live there, I have like plenty of time to put these camera traps, and that was part of my kind of like my way of communicate the diversity of the place. And we have Andean bears and pumas, and this was a tiny deer and ocelots, and some of them were melanic ocelots. And I would just have so much fun putting the cameras and picking them up and show everybody the new findings. And some of them, you will find them very, very close. I mean, I never saw a puma. I didn't want to see a puma, like me walking alone. But I saw bears a few times, and you will know, because you put the camera trap there, you will know that they were just running around very close to the station. And then I moved to the other station in the lowlands, and I spent here 1 year. And I did the same thing, camera traps. We have jaguars, we have tapirs, and other incredible animals. And we have also a lot of people coming visiting us from different parts of the world. Something I didn't like about this place was that we have lots of snakes. And you will find it everywhere all the time. This one is fine, the rainbow boa, but you know, poisonous snakes it were always frightening me to see them. So after all this experience, as I mentioned earlier, it grew in me this kind of interest to understanding the human dimensions of biodiversity conservation. So I have so many questions, right? Of things that I would like to respond. I would like to connect with people that were already working with these topics. So I came to TCD for this in 2017. I joined Betty's lab then. And during my first semester, I got a great opportunity to be part of the organizing committee for the 2017 Amazon workshop. I know that TCD have been like planning this for a long time, but I just landed here, and in my first morning we had this workshop. So I had the opportunity to meet like a lot of people. A lot of them were TCD alumni at the time that were working for Amazon conservation. They had experience in different countries and working on different, using different tools and methodologies and approaches. So that was a very enriching experience to me. And after that, I was part of a project called Governance and Infrastructure in the Amazon project. It was a project that lasted 3 years. And something that I can mention from that project is that, and that I learned a lot, was the use of participatory methods to understand kind of what people think of infrastructure development in the Amazon. So we organized this workshop in Colombia, and we have people representing indigenous and local communities, researchers, people from the NGOs, people from the government, and we asked them things like, what are the major threats in infrastructure development in the Colombian Amazon? So they have two places where they areas of concern, the opportunities, things that they have done to kind of stop sometimes some of these projects, or to kind of inform people about the threats, or even like change the route of some of these roads, or things like that. So I learned a lot from this project. And then is my fire research. So I decided that today, instead of talking and sharing some of my data, or maybe if I have time to do that, maybe not much, I'm gonna show you a short documentary that I developed, that I produced. That it's a summary of my research. So let's go and watch that. I think it should be here, right? Yes. So for the ones in the Zoom, I guess you can let us know if you're not able to hear, hopefully. So I just hit play, right? There you go. Great. ¿Cuáles son las ventajas? ¿Cuáles son las índices o índices promover organización?
Mi nombre es Vanessa Luna y mi investigación se enfoca en cómo las comunidades campesinas de los Andes del sur del Perú se organizan para prevenir y controlar los incendios forestales.
Hoy en día, hacer una roturación del bosque está prohibido, pero a veces como agricultor nosotros necesitamos de hacer esa roturación siempre y cuando bajo la solicitud de las autoridades comunales. Y ellos buenamente nos facultan, pero una área determinada.
A lo largo de 3 años de investigación en esta comunidad y en otra comunidad en Cusco, he realizado varios métodos, como por ejemplo observaciones de las quemas de campesinos, donde ellos me han enseñado las estrategias que usan para evitar de que el fuego se escape y se genere un incendio forestal, por ejemplo, desde donde quemar con otras personas, limpiar alrededor de la chacra para evitar de que el fuego se escape.
Nosotros hacemos un pequeño grupo, todas las personas que tienen ese chajo, para poder quemarlo, ese chajo. Pero conversamos de 5, de 6 o de 7 personas para hacer esa quema en un aire. Cosa que así nosotros controlamos el fuego para que no pueda esparcer más allá. Y para poder empezar esa quema nosotros supuestamente tenemos que ver la hora donde no corre el viento. Entonces esas horas de las 4 de la tarde o a 5 de la tarde tenemos que ir a la rotulación, al chajo donde está. Entonces ahí nos ponemos a limpiar los cantos. Los cantos lo limpiamos para que no nos gane el fuego, ¿no? Lo limpiamos una cierta área alrededor del chajo. Entonces, cosa que así nosotros controlamos un poco más fácil. Y segundo, nosotros nos instalamos agua con mangueras, ¿no? A diferentes cantos. Entonces, el otro va por la derecha, el otro por la izquierda, y previa comunicación. Entonces, el otro va atajando, de repente va controlando por la cabecera. Entonces, si es que el incendio nos quiere vencer o nos quiere ganar, nosotros lo controlamos con el agua de nuestra manguera. Esa es la modalidad de quemarlo, ese chajo que hacemos nosotros como agricultores.
También he usado métodos participativos como líneas de tiempo y mapeos participativos donde los pobladores han podido reflexionar sobre cómo la comunidad ha cambiado, cómo los pobladores han cambiado la forma en que ellos usan el fuego y también cómo ha cambiado la respuesta de las comunidades hacia los incendios forestales. En general, es que ellos ya tienen sanciones comunales, tienen algunas reglas sobre cómo quemar con cuidado, y lo más importante es que han formado brigadas contra incendios, y para eso han recibido la colaboración de ONGs y de áreas protegidas que han traído guardaparques, que los han capacitado para poder estar listos frente a un incendio forestal.
Al ver el humo que estaba propagando bastante, a varios vecinos bajaron a apoyar. Pero como no tenemos agua, no se puede, solamente con chamises, porque acá mayormente pagamos porque no hay otra cosa. Ladera, no hay ni carretera, toda a puño no tienen que dar, con chamises no los pueden pagar. Pero se levanta hacia alto, así, imposibles para un humano para poder pagar. Quieres o no quieres más eucaliptos, lulas tipo, total problema.
Los comuneros más que todo acuden a estos incendios forestales, uno, porque son más próximos, y también porque tienen un cariño hacia lo que son las tierras, los terrenos, ¿no? Puede ser porque ellos han crecido ahí en su día a día, muy aparte que también es o forma parte de lo que es su economía. Entonces, por ese lado es que se ve que ellos se ven preocupados, se ven desesperados, y es algo normal, es algo natural, es una reacción que todos podríamos tener. Entonces, por ello de que ellos, los pobladores, los comuneros, son quienes acuden como primera instancia a un incendio forestal. Sin embargo, el conocimiento o la capacitación que reciben ellos es mínima o reducida, lo cual les pone como un límite a lo que ellos podrían hacer, ¿no? Entonces, en ellos podemos encontrar un recurso que sí se puede llegar a potenciar un poco más. Su función o su rol es muy fundamental, muy elemental, la cual debería de seguir o debería de incrementarse en todos los centros poblados, ¿no? Sería lo ideal para que se pueda cubrir o se pueda atender de una mejor manera los incendios forestales.
En el caso de Quimaya, se ha conformado un comité de gestión del bosque. Y dentro de ese comité de gestión del bosque, las brigadas comunitarias frente a incendios forestales. Entonces, la idea es que toda intervención debe tener el soporte social para que le dé sostenibilidad a las intervenciones. Tanto al comité de gestión de bosques y a estas brigadas comunales, la idea es no solo formarlos, sino capacitarlos y equiparlos. Ciertamente, esta capacidad, este equipamiento es algo especializado, que depende de las entidades rectoras que tienen competencia. En este caso, en el caso de Apurímac, no tenemos instructores para el control de incendios. Tenemos que contar con el apoyo de CERNA y con los instructores del Santuario Nacional de Machu Picchu. Desde sedes venimos trabajando no solo este proceso de fortalecimiento organizacional para hacer sus instrumentos, no solo tener los comités o estas organizaciones básicas vinculadas a estas actividades, equiparlas, todo, pero también generar algún reconocimiento, algún incentivo. En ese sentido, las brigadas, el comité, cuando tiene que ver las medidas de prevención, de control en el bosque, son considerados como faenas y son reconocidos a nivel de la economía. Pero cuando hay algún incendio, se reconoce como un incentivo, como un trabajo, con fondos de algún fondo comunal, en este caso los fondos de Regenera, que reconocen como guardianes del bosque a estos líderes, a estas brigadas que hacen vigilancia y control del bosque.
Una de las principales conclusiones de mi investigación es que para poder promover la organización comunal, las comunidades campesinas requieren de colaboración con otras instituciones, con ONGs, con los bomberos, con los guardaparques que están certificados para poder capacitar a las brigadas comunales contra incendios forestales, los guardaparques de las áreas protegidas, los académicos, y por supuesto diferentes niveles y sectores del gobierno. Entonces, se deben propiciar esos espacios donde todos esos actores puedan compartir sus opiniones sobre el rol del fuego y sobre las estrategias más importantes para poder prevenir y combatir los incendios forestales.
Sí. Made this video thanks to Ideal Wire. They gave me the equipment that I traded as part of the payment for the filmmaker that I hired for this, and also some monies from the School for Natural Resources and Environment. Thanks to them, I did this video. So how I am on time? Do you have a few more? I have 20 more minutes, including questions, right? Great. So, okay, just to give you a little bit of context, because I think that I jumped from tomatoes to potatoes, and I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Why I decided to work on fire? Remember that I said about that biological station in Montes that I love so much. So during that time that I was working there, a year and a half, there was a fire. The fire that came from the Quechua community next door, that came and even burned part of we have canopy bridges and a tower, and you will see the fire coming, and that scared us so much. And I wasn't there, I was on leave when that happened, but I was in Lima and talking to the staff all the time. They were super worried, they called, militaries, even people from the community, of course, to help them put the fire out. And everybody was so worried. But I do remember there was a lot of blaming towards the farmers that have started the fire, right? But at the same time, we have a lot of help from them to put it out. So that happened in 2016, no, before 2014. And I kept that memory, and that was something that we were super scared. I was one of the main threats to our station in the forest. And it was a source of conflict with local communities. So I kept that kind of question, like, what would be the best approach to this, and try to understand, right? So then I proposed this research on community-based fire management that aimed to respond to that question on why people are using fire, and maybe there are already some mechanisms in place when they are controlling the fire and not letting it escape, but why it escapes if it doesn't happen that often. And what about the different perspective, the perspectives from different actors regarding this issue, right? Biologists and people working in the NGOs will be very quick to blame them, but is that the solution? There gotta be something more than that. So some of these questions I responded through my dissertation research, and I kept some other questions that maybe some of them will pick them up in the future. So they were just gonna jump to this now. There were a few publications that came out of my research. 2 of them were already published, and right when I have the publication, out there, I created infographics in Spanish that I put on my site, and I share with everyone and people in the communities. Our 3rd paper is coming up very soon, so I have the infographic kind of ready to be released with. So as a way to celebrate too. So yeah, there you have the 3 infographics for the papers that came as part of this research. And right now I'm collaborating with Augusto Ramirez, which is the person that represented the NGO from this sedes Apurimac. And we are developing these guidelines for community-based management. So this guideline says things as the importance of community organization, the things that you need to do before, during, and after your burn, the role of the community brigade, and all this information came from the community themselves. My research was focused on 2 specific communities that I consider that they were already ahead in comparison to other communities in management and collective organization. So I hope that this guideline will be useful for the other communities that haven't received that training yet in fire brigades, or yeah, we're hoping they will find benefit in this guide. So we hope to print it soon and to share it with members of the fire brigades in other communities. So that's it. And now I am a postdoc at this Power of Connections project. And it's a super exciting project. We are traveling in different Amazonian countries and bringing together people to discuss very exciting tools and strategies that they're implementing to promote Amazonian conservation. And this is a picture from one workshop in Bolivia. We have a lot of educators and young leaders from Bolivia, from Ecuador, Peru, Brazil, Suriname. No, this one we don't have from Suriname, Guyana. But it's very diverse. I was very interested. This workshop was focused on promoting the next generation of leaders in conservation in the Amazon. And this was our 3rd workshop in Manaus, and it shows the diversity of participants representing different sectors, communities, NGOs, academia, even the private sector, so somebody from the private sector, and the regions they work on. So it's been an exciting project, and I know you all have been hearing and seeing the news about it. And we have a big event coming up next year in February. You all are welcome to join. There will be some like open plenaries and discussion forums and a poster session. And these are the 5 topics. The topics are related to each one of the workshops that we are organizing in the Amazon. So yeah, now it's open. So please submit your abstract. We would love to see your poster there. It doesn't necessarily have to be focused on the Amazon because we want to bring also this from other parts of the world. But these are the topics: socio-bioeconomies and conservation finance. From that topic to the innovations in the research process, to indigenous rights and governance instruments. And you can find more information in our website. So yeah, I just wanted to finish with that. And I hope it wasn't confusing talking from like